Welcome everyone to this classic Kiss song off Alive 1. It's off their first album, but I'm doing the Alive version. This song really surprised me once I got into it, how the two guitar parts are so different. So we're tuned down to E flat. Most Kiss songs, or the early Kiss songs, are tuned to E flat. So our A is flat, D is flat, and so forth. So tune your guitar down a half step so each string is flat. Now the rhythm that Paul plays, watching some early versions of him, he sticks to this original rhythm. In later years he's really just kind of bouncing off the E, and I'll talk about that as we get to it. And then the guitar comes in and does this. Alright, so that lick right there is an open 5th string hammering onto the 2nd fret, and then we're going to hit the open 4th string. And then we're going to hit the open string, hammer onto 2 again on the 5th, and pull off to open. Then 3 on the 6th to open. So slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you'll hear a harmonic. And they do this different ways throughout the song. Ace will play just a G chord or a partial G chord. But in the Alive version, there's just a harmonic on the 12th fret, so you want to place it over the metal part of the 2nd string and just hit that string once. Now I've seen it tabbed where they go from G to D, and that's great, but now you got to get back up here and do your rhythm. So this is one of those things where I do a lot of research on my videos, and I think it's important for you, even if there's tab out there, to take the tab with a grain of salt. Look at what the artists are doing live and see what makes sense to you. Listening to it and watching it, they're doing G to D. Okay, so we've got our intro part. So here's what Paul is doing. There's 2 parts to it. We'll start out with this. Alright, so what we're doing is Paul muting that 6th string open and then hitting that same, it's an E note on the 4th string twice. So we're just doing 2 and 2. And then the next time we're going to hit our E twice, and then we'll hit the 4th string with kind of a pull off. Then we'll hit the 4th string at the 2nd fret and pull off and strike the 5th string at 2. I said I'd talk about later years, but Paul is just, in much later years, he's just vamping on the E notes, okay? But if you want to play this with Alive, that's what they're doing here to start out with. So you got the first half of it. Okay, the second half will do the very first part again. Alright, and then what we're going to do is go from our G to D. And basically you're just playing the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. So I'm really just using my ring finger on the 2nd fret because I don't need that 3rd finger down. Alright. So let's take that whole rhythm together slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. We did that 3 times through. The 4th time through, Paul doesn't go into the chord. He lets Ace come in with his lick. Okay, so to do that, he's just vamping on that rhythm. But let me take you through this intro rhythm again. We'll go through it 3 times. The 4th time, we'll just repeat the second pull-off, and then we'll go back into it. So, 1, let's take it from the very top. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see how we come back in for the second half of it. Okay, so for Ace's part, what he does, he waits for Paul to come in with the G to D. And then he does a G octave, basically. We're going to be playing on the 5th string at the 10th fret and the 3rd string at 14 and muting that 4th string. He does this 4 times, okay? Alright, here's the main lick that Ace does in this. So it's what we're going to do, we're going to be at the 15th fret, go 14 to 12. We'll repeat that on the 2nd string. Then 3rd string will go 14, 13, 12, and the 4th string will do that. Okay, so we have this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and then you're into the actual rhythm. Now Paul is doing his bit, which we went over, and Ace is doing something much different, so we'll talk about that next. So Ace's rhythm, while Paul is doing his, is this. Alright, so what he's doing, this song has a real triplet feel. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So he's doing it. Kind of a chukka, and then down, up, down, and we're just doing dyads, two strings. We'll be on the 4th and 2nd, then we'll move that up to 14, then we move up to 16 and 15. 16 is on the 3rd, 15 on the 2nd, back to 14, then start again. Then they both come in right here from 14 to 12. Okay, so that is a consistent part throughout the song, and both Paul and Ace come in with that, okay? For the chorus, Paul comes in, and the 3 chords are G, A, and E. And your E, again, watching Paul in the earlier videos, he's doing his E up here at the 7th fret. You can play it in the open position, that's fine, but you'll hear him go. Okay, and then he goes back into the rhythm. Now, there is a lick that Ace does when he says for 100,000 years, and I'll show you that next. So while Paul's doing the rhythm for the chorus, what Ace is doing is a small lick that kind of leads you into it, and it should sound like this. Alright, so what he's doing there, kind of a Chuck Berry thing. We're going to take 14 on the 3rd string, bend it up, then hit 12 on the 2nd to 12 on the 1st, hit 15 on the 2nd, then we're going to go to 12, hammer on to 15, pull back off to 12, and land on 14 on the 3rd. Alright, so we have this so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go back to 12 on the 2nd and 15 with a bend and some vibrato, and then we'll hit it again because they're singing 1,000 years. So this rhythm I want to touch on too. It kind of comes in the intro also, but it's also during Ace's beginning of his solo. And I call it emphasizing the G because we're not going to play D to G. We're just going to go straight to a G with a slight pause. So again, it's a real feel. So it should sound like this at speed. Alright, so you can see how we're just missing that D and going to G. Ace does this. So what he's doing there, Ace is taking the 2nd string at 12 and he's taking the 3rd string at 14, bending that up, and then he'll hit that 14th fret bend again, and then striking 12 on the 3rd and 2nd string together. Alright, and then we do it again. One more time. One more bend, and then we're into the rhythm that takes us back. Alright, so then we go back into the rhythm guitars for them. You know Paul's part, and you know Ace's part there, and then we'll repeat the chorus, and it's the same lick when he does the chorus. So there's some synchronicity to this song. Ace does the same lick there. So after the 2nd chorus, we'll go in like this. Okay, that's Paul's part. So we've come in after the chorus chords. This will be 4 times. We're going to kind of slide into 7, back to 5 and 7. And then 5 to 7 again. So we have this. And then we'll repeat. This goes 4 times. I'm going to do it twice through. Ace harmonizes, okay? He's going to come up here to the 12th fret on the 3rd string and go back to 11 for the last 2. Alright, we'll go over Ace's solo. This is the first section. I'll do it at speed and then I'll show you what we're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4. start this out, Ace is on 15 on the first string, bending that up, releasing, bending, releasing, and then he'll hit it again with a couple bends and release. Again, he says his vibrato is always different, and it's true. And then we're going to strike the third and second string at 12. And we'll do that a total of 4 times. Okay, so we've gone through it 4 times. Now what he does is this. He's going to hammer from 10 to 12. And then he's going to hammer on to 12 again from 10, but pull off to 10. And then, a lot of people miss this. He hammers on from 7 to 9, back to 7 and 9. Alright, so we've got... And then he slides up to 10. And then, again, he'll hammer into 10. And then 10 to 12, pulled off to 10. Now, what he does is he'll go from 12, slide up to 14. That's on that 4th string. And then we'll go to the 3rd string to 12, back to 14 on 4, and then 12 on the 3rd string, and then he's going to unison bend 14 up on the 3rd string with 12. So it'll sound like this. And he does that, it's almost for 16 counts. And then what he does is he'll bend and release 14 to 12. And then he'll come in with the lick that we know. And then one of the favorite licks of mine of this song, we'll go into that next. So this lick is great. We'll go over this at speed, this next section, and then I'll slow it down. So what he's doing here is he's playing 14. This will be kind of our root note on the 5th string, and then we're going to play 12 on the 4th, back to 14 on the 5th, and then 12 on the 3rd. We'll do this 5.5 times. Then he takes that 3rd string, bends it up a half step and release to 12. And this leads us into the next part, which is just a 14 slid to 15. Rather than bending it, he's sliding to and from. So 14, 15, back to 14, and then 12. Okay, it's really fast, so just to hear it slow. So we do that about 4 times, and then we're back into that lick with the 14th fret of the 5th string. Alright, and then we're into the next part. So the next part will sound like this. You can see how we come back into that. So what we're doing is 15 on the 2nd string and then 12 on the 3rd string. We're going to do 3 of those. Then we're going to do 2 on 15 to 12. We'll do twice. Then 3 more of 15 to 12. 2 more of 15 twice to 12. Then we're back into the 14 on the 5th string. So that'll get you through the very first part, and then they go into the drum solo. Now when they come back in, they're going to say, do you feel all right? It's just G to E, okay? And they'll do that 4 times. Do you feel right? And then again. And again. And then you'll hear Ace. And if you're not familiar, what he's doing there is I've got my rhythm pickup volume all the way off. So when you hit it and you're in the bridge pickup, you take your pickup selector up, it's off, and it's back on, okay? So that's the thing he's doing there. So this is the part where Paul Stanley starts swinging the microphone around. He doesn't have the guitar on, and it's all Ace. So we've done the first. And then what he'll come in with is this. So the next lick you'll hear Ace play will be this. So what he's doing there, again, kind of a Chuck Berry thing, 14 on the 3rd string, bend up to bend it up, and then we'll hit 12 on the 2nd to 1st, and then we're going to come back to the 2nd string. Then we're going to hit 14 with a bend up, release, and pull off to 12. Alright, and 14 on the 4. 14 on the 3rd to 14 on 4, 12 on the 3rd, then 14, 12 on the 4th, 14 on 5, and then our hammering from 12 to 14, and then 12 double stop. Alright, so let me show you that slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next lick at speed will sound like this. Alright, so what he's doing there's a little lick that's kind of a break. We're going to hit 12 on the 3rd string, and then 12 on the 2nd with a little bend up and a stop. Alright, then we'll move to a Chuck Berry lick. 14 bend up on that 3rd string to 12 on the 2nd, 12 on the 1st, and then 15 to 12 on the 2nd. Then 12 on the 3rd. And that leads us back into another little Chuck Berry. 14 bend up to 12 and 12. Back to 15, 12. Then 12 on the 3rd, 12 on the 4th, and then 14 to 12 as our hammer on to 12 on the 4th and 3rd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the next lick you'll hear Ace do is up here at the 1st position. Alright, so what he's doing there, he's taking the 1st string at the 3rd fret, pulling off to open, and then striking the 2nd string at 3. Then we're going to hit 3 again and pull off to open to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Then we're going to pull off, we'll hit 2 again, pull off to open on the 3rd, and hit 2 on the 4th. And then we'll do that again on the 4th string to 2nd fret of the 5th string, and then open G. Alright, and then our lick down here. Gosh, I'm having a blast teaching you guys this. I really hope you're enjoying this. Next lick is this. Alright, so what we're doing there, we're going to do very similar to what we did on the first open string, but we're moving up a whole octave. So we're going to hit 15 and then hammer on from 12 to 15 with a pull off back to 12 and hit 15 on the 2nd fret. Then we'll go 12, hammer on to 15, pull off back to 12, hit 14 on the 3rd. Then we're going to hammer on from 12 to 14 with a pull off back to 12 and hit 14 on the 4th, and we'll do that twice. And then we're into our lick. Okay, so we're to the I'm sorry to have taken so long. Alright, so what we're doing there for this little lick here at the open part, I'm sorry to have taken so long. He's going to take the 3rd string, bend that up, release, and pull off to open. Go to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, back to the 3rd string, open. 4th string 2nd, and then just hammer up. And then E. Alright, the next part, he'll come up to 14 and just hit that with a bend and release and bend and release. And then the quintessential lick that, won't you mind, baby? So we're doing our Chuck Berry, 14, bend up, 12 on the 2nd, 12 on the 1st, to 15 with a bend and release, bend and release. And then both guitars do the A to G. The next part now, again, researching what Ace plays versus people who have played this in or the tab, and they're doing the right notes. It's fine. That works for you. But I'm going to teach you what Ace is doing. So he's going to do this. So we know that lick, but what he's doing here, this will just be on the 1st and 2nd string. So 3rd fret of the 2nd string, 2nd fret of the 1st string, and we'll do this back and forth 3 times. Then we'll move to 5 and 3, 7 and 5, then 8 and 7, 9 and 10, 10 and 12, up to 14 and 12, and then we'll go to 15 and 14. Alright, now we're going to go back to 14, 12, 14. Then back to 15, 14. back to 15, and then 14, 12, 14, and then 15, 14, 15. Then we start going down, and now the down is back just like we went up. 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12. Then he comes up with the lick that we know. Alright, so to end it, again, this is in my notes. So we're sliding to 7, back to 5, and then hitting, that's on the 5th string, to 7 on the 6th. And then we just end with 7, 5 on the 5th, to 7 on the 6th, and an E power chord. So I've had a lot of fun learning this song, and I hope it's helped a lot of people that want to play this. So enjoy.